Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to GBC Women with Words on this Thursday evening. We're trying to act very young because our guest here tonight is not small thing. It's very young. Fun too. Make sure you bring your daughters to sit and watch your sons, husbands. Everybody needs to come here. But it's another Thursday, and we're excited to be here. Hello, Eva.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm still tired from the weekend.
I know, right?
Yes.
Oh yes, he was talking about the Rodney Sear weekend. It was a ball. We had a good time, good crowd, excellent job done by Agatha and her crew and team, but it was wonderful. T12 was there. We jumped over it.
Oh yes. Anti-Reddit jumple.
We jump.
That's
I
what
jump
jumping
over
anti
it. I still feeling like I'm a celebrity because I got to hug D12 and I smart you. And I smart D12 was there. We met him. We met GGG. Derek Moore was also. Shout out to Derek Moore. The pictures. He went live. It was just a beautiful evening.
Wonderful.
Everybody was in sync. The English people can say in sync.
In sync.
Really, everything was correct. We had two partners who left from one and went to the other one. But anyway, welcome to everybody. We'll talk about our guests in a little bit. We want to welcome all of you to come and watch this. I am extremely proud of our guest that we have this evening. We'll talk about him a little bit, but we're already in the month of April, Eva.
Oh wow, I know, right?
We're already in the month of April. Ooh. And so our entire month of April, the show in April, all of the shows in April, we want to dedicate it to our autism children, families with autistic children. Autism, always unique, totally interesting, sometimes mysterious. We're so excited. So we want to just play our autism song, a video of our one of our kids. I forgot the mom's name. Now she'll get me, Mrs. Cooper. Jackie Cooper's Jamie video with her parents. Jamie is autistic. The entire month we're going to dedicate it to all of our. This is the month of awareness for autism. So Facebook, we have no copyrights, but we want to share and celebrate our autistic children.
And here we are, lifting our hands to you. Here we are, giving you thanks for all you do. And as we pray and worship your holy name, you are here, dwelling within our prayer. For every answered prayer, oh yeah, for always being here, for love that hears us when we call, for arms that lift us when we fall, oh you have always been.
Hello, so that's for all of our autistic children. Want to celebrate them. They're special. We love them. And we're glad that they're parts of our lives. Something is happening big for Liberia. I want to talk about it first. If you look on the feed, I have pinned a GoFundMe. So this is the first time. We've watched other Liberian movies. Carter Davis and her crew. Eva lives here. I don't know if Eva, if you watched the first episode or not, but it was amazing. We want to encourage you to please make a donation. The reason why you're donating is because they need support to be able to come up with part 2. So at the bottom in the pin feed, it directs you directly to the GoFundMe. All they're asking for is $1. If each person, if 100 person gives $1, that's $100. If 2 people give $2, that's more. If somebody gives $50, that's more. But we want to support this movie. We want to make sure it goes. I look at the movie on YouTube. It's you can watch it on YouTube. We now have, I think it now has 15,000 people that have viewed it. We want to encourage you. We'll talk a little bit more about the movie because stick with us there. We're going to be interviewing this crew on Saturday. We'll talk about it some more. But I want to bring our guests on. I don't want to just bring him on. Yeah, I want to, because tonight we have a young, handsome man. Young, handsome, should I say young, handsome, young man, Eva?
Yes.
We have a young, handsome, young man. I want to, before we bring him on, I want to read, Eva, let me read it. Let me go into small colloquial. My people are big, yo.
Happy
I want to read it, boy. The small power. That just small the power. I can't read. Small. Hold on, let me read it, power here. So I can know the small children, they learning plenty of book. But I'm looking for it because the English, that in the power, they're not for fun. Oh, hold on. You are laughing. I see what's here. We got see what important person here tonight.
I know, right?
So let me read the bio here. Travis Fonderson. Travis is a Canadian CPA, chartered professional accountant, not certified public, chartered professional. How you like the way I pronounce it in there?
Chartered.
Chartered professional accountant and registered student of the Chartered Business Valuators Institute. He also holds a Master of Accounting degree, MAC, not the computer. Capital M, capital A, 2 small c. MAC from the University of Waterloo in Waterloo, Ontario. Travis is currently an associate at a specialist financial advisory firm in Toronto, which provides expert advice on an array of financial matters, including complex disputes. Prior to this, Travis was a senior associate at PricewaterhouseCoopers. They play with you used to hear the name in a bureau. Price, you hear the play what that man working here? Price, we used to hear about Pricewaterhouse. We get somebody who working to the player tonight. Hey, we're not small people. PricewaterhouseCoopers, where he provided auditing and assurance services for the financial services industry, including several of Canada's leading banking, investment, and insurance organizations. Outside of Travis' professional appointments, he is also the founder of Young Funds Program, an organization dedicated to educating young individuals on the basis of personal investing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to hold our guests any longer. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, Travis. We are so excited to have you here. Oh my God. When you hear me read, and before we start, when you hear me read a little bit of your bio, and even me, I'm overwhelmed in pride from some of those places when we're in accounting school in LU. We only used to hear the name, Pricewaterhouse. And to have you here and having worked there, it is an amazing thing. We're so proud of you, the fact that you're here. I have to bluff with you tonight. I'm gonna bluff Eva. Oh, I'm gonna bluff Eva tonight. Yeah, you know, we have this thing on the show, Travis, where we fight over who we know. Every guest that comes, we fight over there. I am so proud. Travis' father happens to be my favorite professor from the University of Liberia. I did accounting and economics under George Fonderson. He is the best instructor so far. So for me to be here and have the opportunity to interview his son, oh my God, I think I'm going to have a glass of wine later. This is an exciting time for me. But welcome. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it.
Yes. And let me also not be so selfish and forget about your mom, because your mom is a sister. Absolutely. Florence Fonderson, we're so proud, and I'm sure that you all are watching. We want to thank you for such a great job that you've done for Travis. My people, some of you who never hear about Price Waterhouse, they may were working there. So you're kind of here now. So tell us, introduce yourself to everybody who's watching. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do so that we can start talking some more.
Sure. Yes. So, I mean, it's hard to follow up the way that you put out my introduction. It's a great introduction. Thank you so much for that. But I definitely think you covered the main pieces. So, yeah, I'm a pretty recent graduate of accounting and financial management from the University of Waterloo, here in Ontario, Canada. Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. Following my studies, I started out my career, as you said, at PricewaterhouseCoopers, working in their auditing practice, and that's sort of where I built my CPA experience, and I kind of did we call it articling there before I was able to qualify as a CPA here in Canada. Once I sort of finished up my articling at PwC, I decided I wanted to get into something a little bit more specialized and something a little bit more in tune with what I was hoping to do in the future. So I decided to move to a little bit of a smaller firm, but a firm that specializes in financial advisory services, particularly, pertaining to complex like financial disputes. So think of, when people kind of go to court to settle their financial disputes, they'll kind of call our firm to come and help, sort out their financial situation and get that resolved. I mean, I could also talk a little bit, I guess, about my background and kind of upbringing, stuff like that. My parents, my family were originally from Liberia. My parents, my brother, were born there. I was born in South Africa. We were living in South Africa at the time that I was born. We've been around a little bit. We were in Kenya for a little bit too, and then after Kenya, we kind of we immigrated here to Canada in 2003. So this is essentially, where I grew up, where I was basically raised. Definitely, a proud African by birth. And then I grew up here in Ontario, Canada. Went to elementary school, high school, and then university, and now starting out my career here in the financial industry.
Wow, amazing! If you don't mind, and for our audience who's watching, how old are you?
Yeah, so I'm 24 right now. I will be 25 in June of this year.
Can you imagine this man is this young boy is if you're out there, this young man, I'm sorry, girlfriend, if you're there, I'm sorry. But if you're out there, this is a young, accomplished oh my God, so accomplished. Wow. Eva, do you have any question before we continue? Before I continue, Mom, because I have a lot.
I'm just in awe. Yeah. Even at my age, just balancing my checkbook is a problem. But for you to be at this young, you're doing all this stuff. It's incredible.
Yes. I like that you touch on I like that you touch on your family. Right. I'm gonna put you in a tight spot. When you look at and your family is such a close-knit family. I'm telling you, no joke, Eva, these people, they're exemplary. His parents are exemplary parents. They set example, they're so close, not they're tight. They have a relationship that when you see, you want to emulate. I want to ask you, who do you gravitate towards? Your dad or your mom?
Truth be told, it's equal in different ways. I have a different relationship with my mom, and I have a different relationship with my dad. And at the end of the day, both the relationships that I have with my parents work out so well to complement and pretty much make me the man that I am today. I mean, like you could ask both of them if you saw how we interacted in the household. I have a relationship that I have with my dad, and I have a relationship that I have with my mom that both create my personality, and I think the skills that I've been able to garner to date. It's definitely a team effort. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So having had your brother born in Liberia,
Right.
and then you being born in South Africa, and then you're now in Canada. I
Right.
want to ask you, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
what did you when you maybe 10 years or so, what did you want to become? Did you always want to become an accountant?
Right, right. No, it's a good question. It's a good question. I think, every kid probably wants to be 10 different things over the span of, 2 years or whatever. They're always changing what they want to be. But truth be told, when I was really young, I was very, very, one of my biggest hobbies was writing stories. I actually all the time would be interested. I was very interested in superheroes at the time. So I'd always be making up my own superhero stories, printing them out, getting my dad to proofread them, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, when I was really, really young, I wanted to be a writer. I would always say I want to be an author when I get older, and stuff like that. But that I think that was just kind of something that I was a little bit more interested in when I was younger. It was something fun to do. It was probably, I'd probably say, maybe early high school, maybe late elementary school. I was always and again, my parents will tell you there's no problem. I was always very, very keen with any of my allowance that I would get. I would keep it in my little cup under my bed,
I like the way you're saying that you were very keen. You were a stingy little boy.
you could say that. You could definitely say that. Yeah, no, I like to see my money grow, not go down. So so I'll always be taking good count of it. And I think that was kind of the first source or initiation of getting interested in money management, and how the monetary system works, in a country and whatnot. And I would say, by early high school, that was quickly kind of getting streamlined into what I saw myself doing in the future, whether it was particularly in accounting or another area of finance or whatnot. That wasn't particularly defined. That was probably a little bit more later in high school. But I think earlier on, preteen days, was when I started, asking my dad a lot of questions about the whether it be the stock market or the economy in general. And I could definitely see my interests kind of drifting that way. But when I was a really, really young kid, definitely, my eyes were actually, yeah, they were set on being an author. And things kind of just, changed as I got a little more mature, a little older, stuff like that.
Eva?
Okay, so I want to know about the family.
Yeah.
What is your view growing up in an African home?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I've learned growing up, in the culture, and anytime we're at family events, or just seeing family, in the States, wherever it might be, the biggest theme that I can see, I guess, being a child in the family, is that I always hear, it takes a village to raise a child, right? That's something that we always continue to hear throughout the community, throughout the culture. And I think that's one thing that I definitely appreciated, and could most definitely see growing up in the household. I mean, the my parents set the example of everything and any type of success that I can say that I have today is really because of the values that were instilled in myself and my brother from a very young age. Definitely, the you get kept in line growing up in an African household. There was
I like how you're making us feel very good. You get kept in line.
you definitely get kept in line. But that's definitely for the better. I really appreciate, like I was touching on before, the different relationships, or I guess the different things that I could go to, for with my mom versus with my dad growing up. I mean, I don't know what goes on, behind the scenes with them, but it seems like whatever they plan to do with myself and my brother, I think I could say it worked. I'm very proud of the family that we've grown into. And I definitely think that it has a lot to do with the values that were instilled, from a very, very young age, and up to this day. I can be, calling my parents for advice all the time when it comes to particular situations that I need help with. Yeah.
I know Eva asked about the African household. I want to ask you a question directly about education. I'm sure, I mean, not being born in Liberia, you may not have experienced an educational dynamics in Liberia, but you, with the desire of wanting to become an author, I'm sure that there have been stuff you've read about it. There have been stuff that you heard from your parents. When you look at, I want you to be able to look at the 4 countries. I want you to talk a little bit about South Africa, about Canada, America, and Liberia. When you look at these 4 countries and picturing yourself, do you think you would have been able to aspire to where you are in any one of these 4 countries?
Right. So I mean, I could speak to that. I will have you know. So I was very young at the time we were in Africa. So I mean, I was born in South Africa. We moved to, I think, Kenya when maybe I was about 2 or something, and then we left Kenya when I was 5. So I was pretty young. Definitely wasn't paying attention to those things at that age. But I definitely think what I can say to your question is absolutely. I definitely think that. I mean, I think your aspirations and your goals, they start from what's going on in the home, right? They start from the example that's being set for you. They start from, who's speaking to you every day. What are you seeing going on directly in front of, the people who are in charge of your parents, stuff like that. And as I mentioned before, I think a lot of what I've been able to do today is because of, well, for one, knowing the sacrifice that my parents have had to go through to provide my brother and I the opportunities that we saw, and continue to see today. So I think, in my situation particularly, whatever challenges might be existing in the environment that you're in, at the end of the day, it's going, I mean, they would say you become the 5 people closest to you, right? So it all has to do with what's being instilled in your mind, especially from a young age. So I would like to think that, by all means, regardless of the area, I think I had great examples. So I would aspire to be, a great example myself.
Amazing. Yeah. Eva?
What's your favorite African food?
Probably we eat a lot of jollof rice. I mean, I know that's a common one. Probably cassava leaf.
Everybody loves cassava leaf. I think it's one of my children. You'll be surprised what they like. They like tinapa gravy.
Cassava leaf it is.
Cassava leaf is amazing.
Probably.
So folks, if you're just joining us, we are so excited and feel honored this evening to be talking to Travis Fonderson. He's 24 years old. He's a chartered professional accountant. So let's start from there. Let's tell us the difference between the CPAs, a certified public, and a chartered accountant.
Yeah. So honestly, they are basically the same thing, just the different countries' definitions of them, or the different countries' titles. I mean, every country kind of has their own institutes and their own kind of governance policies for the accountants, the professional accountants in their countries. I mean, in a lot of the European countries, you'll hear them called chartered accountants, like CAs. They won't have the P in there. So it's really the same thing, a professional accountant, just different bodies. There's the Canadian body, and then there's the AICPA, the American Institute here in Canada. It's called the CPA Canada, Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada. So they really are the same thing, just different countries. Now, if I wanted to, go to the States and get my certified public accountant designation there, they would recognize what I've done here in Canada. I might just have to do a couple, they call it reciprocity examinations or something like that. But pretty much they recognize you as a equivalent, CPA, barring that you kind of just tie up any loose ends that they might have, particularly in their program. But for the most part, the same type of work is done across both. Yeah.
So I hear you, and we talked a little bit earlier about your dad.
Right.
And it's almost like in Liberia growing up.
Yeah.
When you see a doctor,
right,
there's a different, people look at you differently. And then when you see a CPA, whether you got money, say, "Oh, that man a big money man." so I wanna ask you about your dad and you now. It's almost like you're following in his footsteps.
Right.
Do you consider the fact that his being a CPA has some influence, even though you were a stingy labor, has some influence on you wanting to becoming a CPA?
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely I definitely probably have to say inherently there is a little bit of influence, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think regardless if my dad was a CPA or not, I still would have been a CPA or aspired to be one. To be very, very honest with you, I was the one always coming to him for questions, finding my own areas of interest, and then asking him questions and stuff like that. It definitely proved to be very advantageous that he was already in the profession and kind of went through the process already. He could sort of be that expert mentor, that expert advisor, and he does act in that role very much for me. I can go to him for a lot of situations and kind of just get his advice on the best professional move to kind of make, with him being aware of what I've kind of chosen to be my long-term goals. So I like there is definitely a portion of a influence, but I mean, contrary to probably what's popular belief, people probably think that my dad is a CPA, so that's why I chose to be a CPA. While that inherently probably does have an influence, it's something that I do think I probably would have done irregardless if he was in the profession or not, because of my own kind of personality traits, and what I found to be interesting, in my teenage years and stuff like that, and to this day. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. I want us to talk a little bit about something that you're involved in.
Yeah.
Where you say every 20-year-old needs to have money in the stock market. Tell us a little bit about this program that you're involved in, and how do you become how are you now probably a role model for young men and young women?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. So the Young Funds program is the program I sort of facilitate my investment education program through, and it's something that started out as an idea when I was in my first year of university. So this is about 2017, summer of 2017. I mean, I keep mentioning that money management, the stock market was something that I got keenly interested in very, very early. I probably like my eighth grade, grade 9, something like that.
Wow.
And I started to get into my own kind of research of different financial terms, how the stock market works, benefits of the stock market, what a stock is, all those kinds of things, how companies report their financial statements, all those kinds of things. And from all those activities, and then actually here in Canada, you have to be 18 years old to officially, be able to open up your own investing account. So once I turned 18, after officially being able to actually enter the stock market and learn about the benefits that it can provide to not only young people, but I mean, really everyone in general, I found that there was a major lack of education, not only in the education system itself, like traditional school, but even in the culture, really. You don't see too many well, I would like to see, more parents talking to their children about things like this and whatnot, but you don't generally see kids or young individuals, youth, being encouraged and introduced to probably what I'd consider to be the best financial opportunity for young people, because they have such a long time horizon, right? The biggest advantage that any investor has is the amount of time they can have their money in an investment to grow over time. We call it compounding interest, where your money grows on the interest that's building within your investment. So I found that there was a major lack of education around that. In any of my friend groups, I was the only one ever talking about it. People are like, "Oh, stop talking about this. Like, it's boring. I don't want to hear about it." So I found that there was a major lack around it. Although, I would argue the people who have the best opportunity with it are the young people, are the people turning 18, 19, 20, whatever it might be. Again, because they have that major, I like to call it the asset of time. They have, 20, 30, 40 years before they're ready for retirement or whatever it might be, before they really, really need to have that nest egg to pull on. So that is why I decided to start the program. Now, in no way do I consider myself a stock investing expert, but at the end of the day, it's not something that anyone has to be an expert in to start. I mean, again, contrary to popular belief, there's so many tools out there that have made it so accessible for the everyday person to be involved in the stock market and have investments working for them while they go and work, while they go on vacation, while they do other things. That's the real kind of beauty of being able to invest, is to create something called passive income. That's basically having your money work for you while you're not necessarily needing to go work 8 hours a day at a place of employment, or actually need to actively do something in order to be able to see that monetary return. This is a tool that, if done correctly, you can build and have work for you in the behind the scenes, right? So that you can get back what's important to you, your time, right? Spending time with your family, chasing your passions, whatever it might be. If it was the ideal world, my goal is most definitely to, I mean, most people, will go to school. They'll start out, working a job or whatever it might be. My ideal is, as much as you can, especially as early as you can, put as much money as you can into those investments, so that over time, maybe one day you can take back that time and maybe not need to work as much as you need to, but still be able to supplement the life that you need for yourself and your own family. So that's sort of the motivation, or the way I kind of think about why I believe investing is so important, and especially for young people, because young people, I like to say, we have a high risk tolerance, right? Yeah, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, a lot of them are still in school, or a lot of them are still living with parents. Most of them probably aren't married. Most of them probably don't have children. They don't have all these financial responsibilities just yet, meaning that they can take on a lot more risk, or they can even have a lot more disposable or discretionary income in their pockets that don't have to go to the necessities that they can afford to put into these investments. And even if, of course, there's always risk when it comes to investing in anything, but the idea is that the earlier on and the longer time period you have your investments working for you, essentially the lower the risk becomes, right? If you invest for a longer period of time versus a shorter period of time, especially in the stock market, your odds of your money growing are a lot higher than they are of the odds of your money increasing is a lot higher than them decreasing, right? Because the stock market basically represents the economy, and the economy, as we see over time, generally tends to grow, especially in the economies here over in the West. And stuff like that. So that's a little bit about the Young Funds program. In terms of trying to, I guess, be an example or model leadership and all those kinds of things. At the end of the day, I just try and relate to my audience through essentially showing them that they're really no different than I am, right? A lot of the people that I speak to through this program are my age, maybe some a little younger, maybe some a little older. But I really try to, advocate for young people to get out of the mindset that they're too young to be doing things like this, because that's not the case. Honestly, like the younger you are, the better an opportunity you have with these things. Because again, I keep going back to the fact that you have your whole life ahead of you. You have the opportunity to be contributing. If I put in $1 of investments, obviously I'm going to have more of a greater of a return if I put in $10 versus just $1. So if I'm able to put in $1 over my entire career, it's better than me putting in $1 only starting from when I'm, I don't know, 35, 40 years old, right? I have a much longer investment horizon. So that's sort of what I try and preach, and I hope that my audience gets encouraged through these messages.
Amazing. So one of the things that you're chartering is encouraging young people,
yes,
to become investors. And your young funds program is any young person from the age of 20. So I'm a young 20-year-old, which I'm not, but I'm coming to you and say, walk us through the process.
Right.
How do we, because there's someone who has no idea what a stock market is.
Right.
I want you to literally give an example, because I know I ask my kids to watch the show.
Right.
One of my sons is so behind money business, but
right.
he's beyond stingy. So, so I want you to walk us through the basic steps,
right,
from point zero
right,
to where you get to the stock market and start saving.
Right. Sure. Yes. So, I mean, first, absolutely, the first thing is, I mean, you need to have money saved. You need to have money, either whether it be from a job, allowance you've been getting, birthday money, whatever it might be. Obviously, it takes money to make money. So you need to have money that you are comfortable with putting away. I would say ideally for a longer time horizon. I'd say, I mean, to each their own. It's, I mean, you'd want to look at your personal situation, but probably a couple of years is at the minimum of what I'd say. You'd want to have money set aside to be ready to put into the investment account. The next thing that you would need to look to do is pretty much open what we call a brokerage account. Now, I know that might be a big word that might scare a lot of people who aren't familiar with the territory, but a brokerage account is pretty much, I mean, I guess you could kind of compare it to how your bank holds your cash. Your brokerage account holds your investments or your stocks, your stock market investments. So, I mean, I'm here in Canada, but in the States, there are different companies that have, allow you to open up brokerage accounts. From my knowledge, all of the big banks, I assume probably the majority of the audience is in the States. So I'm going to try and speak to what I know about in the States. Majority of the big banks have the investing or personal investing branches where you can go and open up a trading account or a brokerage account. They'll call it, right? Honestly, if you even just search up like I know Charles Schwab, if you've heard of Charles Schwab,
Yeah.
that company, that's one of the companies that offers a brokerage account, just as an example. But really, any of the everyday day-to-day banks that you use for your own, personal and retail banking, have an arm for as a brokerage service. So you want to go on your computer and open up a brokerage account, very similar to opening up really any other accounts, any other financial accounts, like your bank account or whatever it might be. And once you get set up with your brokerage account, that will pretty much be the tool. I like to call it the home of your stock market investments. The way a brokerage account works is you essentially take money from your bank or a financial institution. You'll transfer it into the brokerage account. Once that cash is inside the brokerage account, now you are able to start actually, selecting the particular stocks or funds you want to be invested in. So I mean, if we really were to go step by step of how to actually, I guess, hold your first stock or whatever it might be. Step one, open up the brokerage account, right? Step two would be to fund the brokerage account. And I mean, a lot of these brokerage accounts are pretty user friendly. Like, I mean, you'll see the different buttons right there of how to do things, transfer money, whatever it might be. And of course, at the end of the day, you can easily just click the help button or ask one of your banking advisors.
Quick question for you. Like what is like a dollar amount to say to start this brokerage account, or does it depend on the institution?
Yeah, so some institutions do have what's called a minimum investment. From what I've seen, again, I'm not in the States, I'm in Canada. From the like, I've seen as low as, some places don't have any minimum requirements, so you could put in as much as little as $1. Whereas other places I've seen $500 minimum or $1,000 minimum. So it does depend on the financial institution that you are working with. I do know that, again, I'm trying to cater to your American audience here. I know, for example, Robinhood. I don't know if you've heard of Robinhood, but
I have a Robinhood account.
Okay, yes, yeah. So you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe with Robinhood there isn't a minimum investment amount. I think you can put in as much as you want. So that's probably a good one for beginners to start out with. I even believe their fees are quite low. So just as an example, it does depend on the financial institution in terms of the minimum amount that you can put in. But in terms of a good amount that you want to put in, honestly, it really comes down to your personal financial situation, and how, I guess, what your long-term goals are, right? And what this money will kind of be used for at the end. Like, what's your reason for investing? That will probably judge how much money you'd like to put in. If I were, I mean, my preference is I like to put in as much extra cash that I have that would otherwise just be sitting around doing nothing, sitting in my bank account otherwise. I would like, that's my preference, is to just have as much money as I can working for me. I never like to have cash, what I call sitting idle, doing nothing. So if I'm saving up cash for I mean, for example, let's say you want to buy a house in the next year or two. You probably want to keep saving that cash in your savings account because that money has an immediate use, right? It's not going to just be sitting idle for no reason. Whereas, if I had cash sitting in my bank account and I don't plan to do anything with that cash for the next foreseeable future, I'm probably going to want to put that amount, whatever that amount may be for me, inside my brokerage account. So that it can at least be working for me if I was going to do nothing else with it. Now, that being said, I will disclaim that and say, it really is personal preference. It depends on what your needs are. I can't stress that enough. But yeah, in terms of minimums, depends on the financial institution.
Okay.
Yeah. So sort of getting back to the steps there, I think we were on the step of opening up your brokerage account and depositing your funds into your brokerage account, right? Very, very seamless process, especially if you're working with a well-known brokerage. Once you get your money deposited in there, the next step is actually quite well, I guess you could say it might be simple or might not be simple. In nature, it's simple. The step is pretty much to just pick what stock or what fund you want to be invested in. Now, when I say stock, I basically mean, think of the big companies that you hear about: Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix, all those companies that we probably use on a day-to-day basis. They trade on the stock exchange. Now, a little bit of technical background for those of you who might not be familiar with the space. The stock exchange is pretty much, I mean, you could think of it like a supermarket for different companies, basically, to go and buy pieces of ownership in these big companies, right? So companies, when they're kind of looking to they call it raise capital, but it basically means when they're looking to basically get money from the public in order to support their business, right? In order to start a business or maintain a business, there needs to be cash in the business. What a lot of these big companies will do is say, okay, we have this really big cash need. We need to make a big investment or something like that, whatever it might be. We're going to raise capital. Basically means that we're going to sell a piece of our business. We're going to give people a piece of ownership in our business in return for them giving us cash, right? So it's very similar to buying something from the store. If I go to the stock market or if I go to the store and I want to buy a product, I give the seller money and they give me the product back. In the stock market, you'll go to the stock market, you will give money to the person on the other side of the transaction, whoever is selling that stock, and you will now be a part owner of whatever company you've now invested with, right? So the way that looks like on the brokerage account is you can pretty much just search up whatever company it is that you're interested in that trades on the stock market, right? So I'll keep using Apple. Apple is an example because most people probably have iPhones these days. You can search up Apple on your brokerage account, and it will come up, and you can select Apple. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then once you select whatever company it is that you want to be invested in, there's going to be a button that says buy or sell. It will be very prominent. It will be very easy to see because that is the whole point of the brokerage account, is to buy and sell. Then it's just a matter of really clicking buy or clicking sell on that particular stock or fund that you're interested in investing in. You can choose how many shares you want to buy. So again, another little bit of technical background. There are particulars, again, similar. I'll keep using my store example. When you want to go buy cartons of milk, there's a particular number, limitation or quantity of milk cartons that you can buy in the store. Similar in the stock market, you can choose how many units or how many shares, right, of that particular company you want to buy. And that's something that you would do at the time of you choosing to buy or sell the particular stock that you want to be invested in. And at that point, once you buy it or once you sell it, once the order executes, we call it executing. That basically means when the funds have settled, the seller has gotten the funds, you will now be part owner of the company that you just bought. And you will now see in your brokerage account, okay, Apple, I have 10 stocks of Apple, and this is the current value of those 10 stocks based on the share price, the market price, the price that it's trading at on the market at that point in time.
Wow.
Right.
That's amazing. That's I learn every time we have somebody on here, learn something. To even hear that at 20 years old, and it's like you have young people who have a lot of money sitting in the bank that they're not. I like when you say make your money work for you.
Yes.
And don't work for your money. So that's a good thing. We learn some stuff. What's next for you?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm still early, very early on in my career.
You are
really? Oh, wow. You're ready to retire.
Think I got a long way before that, but yeah. So I mean, as I said before, I've made my sort of first career, I guess, kind of move outside of
Are you kidding me? Can you imagine saying first? I made all my career move and I'm not even to where you are.
So yeah, no, I mean, throughout the university that I went to, it was a very ideal program because we do something called co-op. So I went on a co-op placement, basically meaning throughout my actual degree, I was able to go out for months at a time and get real work experience even before I graduated. I like yeah. So it's called a co-op program, and that's probably the main reason I ended up actually choosing the school that I chose. So that's what brought me to PwC, to Price Waterhouse. And it was good because not only did I have work experience before graduating, they actually brought me back full time because I mean they've already trained me. I have experience there.
I like
that's
that.
That's the relationship that sort of works. So long as you don't burn the place down or anything, they'll take you back full time, right? So that was really good. That's where I started my career. Very grateful for that because as it is a prominent firm, it's very well known. I definitely think being able to work there was what sort of put me on the radar and even gave me the opportunity to see this new opportunity of where I'm at now. Because I actually heard about it from a recruiter who was looking for people to bring into the firm. So I am very, very, very happy with where I am right now in terms of where my career interests are. This is the type of work that I'm doing right now is quite specialized and really challenging. So that's something that I can appreciate, and I see myself.
He says challenging with a smile.
No, most definitely
very passionate about his work. That's good.
So yeah, so I can appreciate where I'm at right now, and for the foreseeable future, I'm just looking to I call it be a sponge and learn as much as I can here while doing quality work and growing in my career. So at least for the next little bit, I'm working on, when you read out my bio, I'm currently a student of the Chartered Business Valuators Institute here in Canada. So it's basically another professional or finance professional body similar to the CPA Canada. This is basically the professional business valuators. So people who value businesses and will help people come up with prices to sell their businesses and stuff like that when they're ready to sell their business or even buy a business, whatever it might be. So I'm currently working towards my CBV designation. So it's,
can you imagine?
Yeah. So it's
all the letters.
Yeah, you can never get too much education.
I know.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you, because we always, you're a young man,
right.
You're 24 years old, you've become so successful, accomplished a lot. We're proud. I'm sure your parents are, and your brother, they're extremely proud of you. But I want to ask you, what have been some of your challenges? And I also want to see, I always like to relate it also to prejudices that you've experienced, so that people can also learn from some of the things, because of course, you're a Black young African young man. So it's like, I want to know, what has been some of your challenges? How are you able to overcome them? And any prejudices? I'm sure you've been able to beat all of your prejudices with your successes, but we want to hear so that others who are listening can be able to learn from them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely speak to that. What I've, coincidentally enough, I was actually talking about this similarly with the similar situation with my mom a couple days ago, or last week. But I'm very thankful and appreciative of, Canada is a very diverse place. If you don't already know, we have over 200 ethnic groups that are within the country, and that's probably the first thing you'll notice, if you were to touch down in Toronto or Canada or whatever. So I appreciate being introduced to diversity very early on in my life, because I said I came here when I was 5, so I started going to school where, you know, it was very diverse. Of course, I mean, in many of because of the nature of what I chose to study, and the profession that I'm in, very much of the time I'm probably, you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 other people, African American people in my circle. So I mean, I will for sure, you know, put that out there. But it's been a blessing for me because I was able to become exposed to diversity very early on, throughout my entire school career, my entire university or high school experience, and university experience. So I learned how to become comfortable in my own skin from a very young age. And I mean, I do think it also is a personality trait. Regardless, you know, if you like me or not, I'm still gonna kind of do my thing because
you gotta do all of them. So
that's definitely, you know, one thing that I've tried to maintain, because, you know, at the end of the day, you need to look out for yourself in any way that you can, especially when there are, you know, prejudices out there that do exist. Now, you know, I absolutely do need to be fair and transparent. I personally have never experienced anything blatant or to my face of a prejudice being shown, you know, directly to me, in my face. Of course, you know, behind the scenes, I can't comment as to what happens behind the scenes, and I know that prejudice is very much so alive and well. And you know, one thing that I learned growing up was, you know, understand where you are, and understand these things do exist, and do what you can do what you like. Essentially, you can only control what you can control, what you can do to make better about the situation. So the way I kind of saw that was, well, you know, if these things kind of exist, particularly to people that maybe might look like me, well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work twice as hard, or whatever it might be. At the end of the day, whether you want to call it fair, whether you want to call it unfair, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. You got to do what it is that you can control. You got to take advantage of what you can control in order to put yourself in the best situation that you can. Right. So I guess going a little bit back to the diversity situation growing up, because I was introduced to such a diverse community, or grew up in a very diverse community throughout my life. It was, I mean, when you're young, you don't think about these things, right? You don't care about what your friend looks like. Your friend is your friend. Like, you don't see race, whatever it might be, when you're young. So I mean, being young, I think it really helped me by basically like understanding and becoming comfortable with the people that I'm around, and them becoming comfortable with me, right? So I think kind of being immersed into a very diverse environment from a very young age helped me accelerate being, you know, again, as I said, comfortable in my own skin, which allowed me to, you know, pursue and double down, and, you know, work twice as hard, whatever it might be, to meet these, I guess, kind of interim milestones, right? For example, I was very blessed and very fortunate to represent my classes as valedictorian in both elementary and high school, right? So and yeah, so I definitely think that, you know, that like being comfortable in my own skin, being able to develop relationships with people, whether they look like me, whether they didn't look like me, whatever it might be, earlier on, made me comfortable in my own skin, and then allowed me to have the motivation to pursue these things that I really wanted to do. For example, like whether it be valedictorian, whether it be, you know, starting the Young Funds program, and all those kinds of things, right? So I mean, I guess the way I would say I managed any prejudices that may have existed is just by being myself, and you know, staying true to myself, and working hard to get what I wanted to get, you know, at the end of the year, what I aspired to achieve. And I think, you know, doing that from a young age definitely helped alleviate whatever prejudices people may have had, because, you know, you start to build a little bit of, I guess, a resume or whatever it might be, and then, you know, I won't say it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because it unfortunately is always going to matter what you look like. People, that's the first thing people will always judge by. But what can I do? The best thing I can do is give them a reason to not judge me by the way that I look, judge me by the quality of my work. And I think I would like to say, based off of the fact that, I personally, I'll never sit here and say like I feel like I was ever given less than a person that didn't look like me, a person that doesn't look like me. So I think that's probably an ideal way to manage the situation or deal with those types of things. Now, of course, I can't speak for everyone because everyone is dealt different life circumstances. Again, I'm very, very grateful to my family, very, very grateful to God for providing me the environments and the opportunities to chase what I've been able to chase, because I know there are very, very, very many people who do look like me who will never even see these opportunities because of the life circumstances that they were dealt with. So I guess, and it just drops another point into my head, is another reason of why, some people might say like I have, aspire to do these things or maintain this ambition. One of the reasons I like to do it is because I was telling you before, in a lot of the rooms that I sit in these professional environments, I am one of two, one of three, one of definitely under, count them on your hands, Black people, right? So I like to be a motivation to, maybe younger people that look like me, to be able to see, older people in positions, in such positions, not just the positions that you see on in movies or in on TV, of where you particularly see like Black people ending up, not that to each their own, absolutely everything's great, but particularly the cultural, I guess, kind of movies or whatever, like to paint people only ending up in like being an athlete or being a musician or something like entertainment, you know what I mean? I like to represent in these other areas maybe where we aren't as represented, to show that we most definitely have a place there, you know what I mean, as everyone else does, right? So it's I think as I got older, that was definitely one of the bigger motivations.
He said, as I got older, you're 24. What are you talking about?
As I matured throughout my educational experience.
That 55-year-old man sitting out here talking.
All right.
This is an old soul.
I know. Yeah. That's amazing. Oh my God, you've accomplished so much in your young age. We're so extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
We
Thank you so much.
Talking on and on, but we're not going to let you go without asking about who are you dating? Are you dating anybody? You're 24 years old. You're young. You're accomplished. You are a CPA. There has to be a girlfriend somewhere. You can plead the fifth if you want to, but listen. If your daughter is watching, you see that Travis is not answering that question. If you like this young accomplished man, his mom is on Facebook. Dad is my professor. Send me your name. I'm gonna send it to him. Okay.
That's one. We'll keep that one. We'll keep that one offline. We can have another conversation. Yeah. And you can learn more that way.
Very good. But we're so very proud of you, Travis. And I can sum it up to say this is one of the most interesting and intriguing and exciting interviews that we've had. To be able to talk to a young man of your age, 24 years old, and having accomplished so much. I like when I heard you say that you were valedictorian, elementary, high school. And how what I can say is that regardless of whether there were no prejudice, you were at the table and you made sure that you were seen at the table. Right. Because even whether it was 1, 2, or 3, people saw you, people knew you, people did not leave without talking about you. So we want to say thank you so very much. Eva, anything you want to add?
No, I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
I see my little Isaac in you.
Amazing. Her son is already taking her to court.
And he's 10.
But we're so honored that you were able to come and talk to us. We feel very, very, very humble that
Thank
you
you.
took off your time, and we wish you nothing but the absolute best. I didn't ask you about any plans. I hope there are some plans someday to go to Liberia and do some volunteer work at the University of Liberia.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I've been back a little bit in as I got older. Like 2012, 2014 was the last time I was there. And I mean, right now, definitely I'm trying to build, like as I said, still have a lot more building that I have to do.
More.
You know, in my career, I'm still very, very young. Have a lot of things to brush up on. And one day, most definitely, I'm trying to use my skills for the betterment of other people. That's one thing that I've learned.
And I like as we close, Travis, let me just say to you, we're honored, but we're so extremely proud of your parents, because one thing you said that I hope parents who are watching can take from this interview is, you said that what you saw, what you were taught, what you saw at home was what you became.
Absolutely.
What was taught to you was what you followed, and that's what kept you on track. So to your amazing parents and to your brother, we want to say congratulations, and we are extremely proud. Listen, whenever you come on this podcast, any other time you want to come there, please let us know. We'll come if you want to come talk some more. If you have a group of young guys that you are girls that you want to come and talk to, I think you're stumbling upon something that can also help our Liberian household with young children and being able to save and being able to invest. I think it's something that's not common for us growing up. Nobody was trying to save no money, because when I get you $1, you probably won't go to the dance. But right now, I think it's something that you stumble upon. So I want to encourage you in your Young Funds program, and we encourage you in everything you've done. Thank you so very much for coming and talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you both. Pleasure is all mine, and yes, I'm more than happy to come back. Just send me an invite.
My son, you got anything for? I know you got a young people program, but you got anything for our old people?
We can talk. We can talk.
Because we are sick.
I know, right? We're not 20 years old.
Learn how to save.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Travis, and have a good evening.
Thank you both. You guys take care.
All right. Amazing, young. Oh my God. So proud. So proud. So proud. Yes, that is an accomplishment for him.
Yes,
for his parents. 24 years old.
Yes.
Now you want to say CPA chartered. When I say chartered, you can make it sound like he's doing the whole place.
Chartered professional. Chartered parity.
I like how the Canadians can call it, because that's smart professional. Everybody gets certificate. He's not certified. He chartered the accounting work.
Professional accounting.
Professional. So amazing and proud of him. And like he said, if you're out there and Travis is on Facebook, very easy to reach out to, very accommodating when you reach out to him to talk to him. If you have questions from this interview, look up Travis Fonderson, or you can look up Florence if you need to send a message to him. If you have questions, this is something that he's doing, and this is something he's done all his life. I mean, 24 years old, and he's been able to become an expert in investment. Stock market, and I standing out to go in the market and pick the food. That's saving money. The $10 you get, you won't buy a shoe. Don't buy the shoe. The boss say you must save your money. Make your money work for you. Don't work for your money. But I'm sure if you have questions, and you may have questions that you wanted to ask but couldn't send it in to us, please don't hesitate. Send it to myself, send it to Eva or Agatha. We will definitely make sure we connect you with Travis so that he can help you. Okay, Auntie May, Mom May. This is the card I pick up from Mom May. Say, see you at the top. The bottom is not an option. What a card that we picked up today. This card is, what a word I said today, in sync. The guy in syncing with Travis.
Yes. See you at the top.
At the top. The bottom is not an option. Somebody said to me today, they there were people on orientation, and the education nurse was saying to the because one of the social worker came to her and said, "Oh," so she went to the meeting, and the nurse was saying, "You didn't bring a binder, you didn't bring a book to write stuff down." And then she asked the education nurse, she said, "Where am I going to get it from? Do I order it?" And the education said, "Listen, your boss is not going to be the one to tell you how to be successful. You have to decide how it is that you want to be successful. So if you come into the meeting, your hands swinging, are you being successful? If you come into the meeting, you need to be able to bring everything you need to make sure that you're successful." All righty, we have an extra show this week. We could not refuse not to help promote, because this is Liberia. This is what we do: promote Liberian businesses. But like I said earlier, we're so very proud of Eva Lives Here. Part 2 should be coming out on Saturday, I believe. But we have a show on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. Liberia time. The crew from Eva Lives Here will be here. We will be talking to them about the show. What a beautiful job they've done. If you have not watched the show, my people, are begging you. Some of all like me, I can spend whole Saturday watching Nigerian movie.
Yes.
Netflix say I don't even know how to do it. I ordered a Nigerian movie from 8 o'clock straight to 8 p.m. Go to YouTube and look up the movie. Also, click the link on this page. We're coming to talk to them about the movies. We're coming to talk to them to see how we can help them raise some funding. They're only asking each Liberian to make $1 donation. They ain't get no money. They have desires to become actor. Koto is a director. She did this movie with the actors and stuff. They need help to support it. Most of the reviews are even, I don't know if you've watched it, but most of the reviews have been very positive. I don't want to leak on everything, but just the way they spoke, the way they were dressed, all their makeup, their face beat, them were beaten.
I started it. I'll finish it before Saturday. I will fall asleep with the night and check it out again tomorrow morning.
Yes, but go watch the movie. It's on YouTube. Click like on the movie, share the movie. The more we share it, the more we watch it, the more promotions we can get from them. And then come here on Saturday and be prepared to support them. So it's on Saturday. It's at 7 p.m. Liberian time, 3 p.m. Eastern time here. Carter Davis will be here telling us all about Eva Lives Here. I also want to say thank you to our GBC people, because when we've done, I think, 1 or 2 shows with Carter before, initially when they were in preparation of this movie. I had interviewed them about the movie. So we want to continue to do. We don't want, we interviewed them in the beginning, and now they need more money to promote, and then we just leave the hanky. We want to continue to support them. So we want to thank you all for watching. We had such a good time today talking to Travis Fonderson. Don't forget, I still need to talk about Rodney's here. The next book launch is on April 22nd. April 22nd in Liberia. And this is what they're doing. It's only $50 to go to the place. That $50 will give you a book.
Autograph book.
An autograph book. And you will go there and check important Liberian artists. The MC Caro will be there.
The whole concerto of many artists.
Many Liberian artists will be there. If you're in Liberia and you want to, like Gigi said, you want to know about George Weah and you like George Weah, you want to read his story, go to that place and get your book and pay your $50. Folks, it's been a beautiful evening. We want to thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you on Saturday for the show with Eva Lives Here crew. Eva, have a pleasant good evening, folks.
Yes.
No, we forgot the month of April. The colors for April is yellow, red, and white. Make sure you wear yellow, red, and white.
Yellow, red. What happened to blue?
No, blue was for March.
Blue is autism.
Yeah, well,
there are multiple colors for autism.
I look it up. But we
you said what
also
the colors again?
blue, no, not blue, yellow, red, and white. Are the
I
colors?
wore red last week.
Okay, you'll wear yellow next week.
Let me see what I got in there close. I don't know if I got yellow. I will find yellow.
All righty, folks. We'll see you all. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.